answer. Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. James. So, okay, I think we can start now,
Oh,
right? Today
Riska,
we have,
a tip.
yeah.
So Kyla just asked you something. Kyla, go ahead and ask Riska. Let's give her some guidance.
Okay, so Rizka, can you please delegate one person to be the secretary?
Oh, secretary. Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. Maybe I will delegate it to Irma if you're available to be the secretary in this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I will have to ask Irma also to present the uh, apa namanya, the share screen of our cases.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
okay, okay.
okay,
Sure.
thank you, Irma.
So, uh, wait a second. Is already, oh, you can
Yeah,
explain.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, okay. Okay, thank you, Irma.
Yeah.
So, I think we can get started. So today we have two new cases to discuss. The first one is from Kak Gray ya. Kak Gray yang the previous one, Irma, maybe you can scroll it down. The first
Oh,
one is Kak Gray.
is
Yeah, okay. Okay, this is the one. Okay, then please, Kak Gray, the time is yours. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Riska. Congrats on your first sharing. If you can click on the photo, Irma.
yeah.
So there's a guest that inquire about lot property and interested on renting it for a month. There are some concerns that she voiced out, and I have answered it. And then if you go to the next picture,
Mm,
yep, that's the same one.
oh, oh,
Yep. If you scroll a bit down, yes. So, and then the guest saying that she wants to rent it by deposit. She voiced some concerns about change of date, but I have answered that it's possible as long as the calendar is not booked. And this time she replied quite late and just got back to us yesterday, saying once again that she wants to put a deposit. And while writing this and breaking down the sequence, I just realized that I perhaps should ask or say to her why deposit is important, actually and needed to find out why. She said she's quite busy, and I tried to label that she must be busy with her hectic schedule, even though I don't really know what she does. Um, and but I offer a solution since if I'm not mistaken, Airbnb actually doesn't allow deposit payment. And if you go scroll a bit down uh, more down, Irma.
uh,
Yes,
eh,
that one. Yep. Uh, then she explained that she have once booked a house in Ibiza and paid deposit only through Airbnb. Since I still can't give her a definite answer for the deposit, I mirrored her sentence about the Ibiza booking and tried to know about how her plan is with the payment while using a bit of persuasive words in the end. But since I can't still can't give her a definite answer, so I still try to discover more. So I'm still in the part 2 of discovery and still try to gain her trust, actually. And yeah, uh, I just try to discover more of her plan and just her works in general, just making some basic talks. And there's actually a question in the
Okay.
most bottom, in the most bottom, because usually deposit happens in direct booking, correct? But like, it's such a huge amount. Lot property for a whole month is like 100 million something probably. And so yeah, my question is, should I do the booking outside of Airbnb or keep it inside Airbnb also?
Okay.
And yep, that's for me. Back to you, Riska, Miss Chair.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Kak Gray, for the explanation. So maybe there is anyone who want to share their opinions, maybe about it. Is there anyone?
Uh,
Riska, maybe a bit of advice. Don't say anyone. Try to point
yes.
out
Thank
someone.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay then. Okay. Maybe let's start with Mr. Jing first, I guess.
Okay, once again, here's a few tips, everyone. Riska's doing her chair for the first time. Gray, thank you for stepping on toes. Gray noticed the first thing. What is the effect that Riska was experiencing when she asked anyone?
It's the bystander effect. No one
Right.
answer.
Yes.
Riska, you have bystander effect when you say anyone. You don't put anyone account. You don't put any particular person accountable.
Mm.
So when you say that, you're going to get an empty room. So direct the question to one particular person, like the way you did with me. Your second thing
Okay.
is this: don't direct the question to me first, because then nobody else will learn. Right? I generally am the
Okay.
most experienced person here. So try to
Okay.
go and get, let's say, a mix of different opinions and develop everyone so that they can try out their thoughts. Okay. And then
Okay
I can
then.
also see if somebody actually understands or not. That helps me also understand if you guys understand, which is my job
Oh.
as a leader here. So, Riska, try it again.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jing. I have so much lesson learned in the first few minutes actually. Okay then. Maybe I will point it out to Kamutia. Maybe. Hi Kamutia.
Hi, Rizka. Thank you.
Okay,
In
Kak.
my opinion, can we just like guide the guests outside the Airbnb? Is it possible? Because we can like get the deal easier, just like just uh we did with Jess, something like that. Hmm. Yeah, because we can like discuss it with no hesitate when we uh negotiate with the guests in outside the Airbnb. What do you think?
Okay, maybe Kak Gray can answer
Oh, pass it around. Pass it
Kak
around,
Mutia.
Riska. Pass it to another person too. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe after the answer and next questions from Kak Mutia, maybe Kak Gray can explain more about it. What is the consideration if that is actually what we did for these cases, Kak Gray?
It's quite an interesting thought, but maybe Rizka, you can jumble uh, people's opinion first before concluding it and asking my opinion. Yes.
Okay, then maybe I will appoint it to Kak Nadine, if that okay.
I prefer the other first. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
Riska, let me stop for a moment. Okay, let's give
okay,
you some feedback again. Okay, I'm gonna
okay.
give Riska two more times to doing this, and then if Riska doesn't, I'll intervene. So what you want to do is you want to. This is Socratic method. You want to actually go to the least experienced people first to get, let's say,
Okay.
their ideas. This allows you to understand where somebody's coming from. Okay, once you know where somebody's coming from, it's like negotiation by itself, right? We're doing discovery, everyone, right? So if we don't discover what we don't know, then if we already just go step 4, pattern match, we might not
Oh yeah.
actually figure out what the correct patterns are. So as much as possible, I would bring it out. I would bring Dimas, I would bring Irma, I would bring some of the newer people into the conversation and ask them
Mm,
what they think is a solution. So therefore, the more experienced people can then share and go, okay, I can see what you were thinking, but maybe you should think this instead. Give it a shot again, Rista. Okay.
okay, thank you, Mr. Jing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I will. Okay, I will try again.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe after Kamuti, I will point it Kadimas to share his opinions about these cases. Kadimas, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, Rizka,
Okay.
for the chance for me to answer. I think I had to agree with Kak Muti, which we need to direct booking this particular inquiries since the Airbnb doesn't allow us to deep deposit. So I think it's best to just do it directly. I think that's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Kadimas. Is there any reason for that particular answer? Maybe you can elaborate more or for I mean, apa uh, uh, other considerations, or
Yeah.
is that all?
Uh,
Okay then.
since okay, I think since Airbnb doesn't allow us to do deposit, I think direct booking is the only thing that we can do for this particular case, because without having direct booking, we don't have the booking. So yeah, I think that's the answer for this
Okay.
case.
Okay, thank you, Kak Dimas. So Kak Dimas and Kamuti said that it will be easier for us to booking also from Airbnb to keep it the booking. And maybe I will try to ask Irma about it. What about you, Irma? Can you share your opinion about this?
Yes. I think it will be better when in outside Airbnb, because when I ever in a Airbnb is have a little bit trick about how to we give some have many rules. Then I think it's better than we direct to Instagram or WhatsApp through Instagram, I think. And after that we can give our number, WhatsApp number in a Instagram, in a DM. I think that's all for me, and I agree with Mutia and Dimas.
Okay, thank you, Irma. So we have 3 points for keeping it outside our Airbnb, and Irma also said that he suggests us to apa keep it outside in tadi apa Instagram. Yes, maybe. Oh yeah, Mr. Jing is raise hands.
Okay,
Oh.
now
Yes.
I'm going to go to Gray. Gray, what would you say at this point?
It's quite interesting actually, because
Mhm.
everyone kind of agree to
Right.
book it outside
Okay.
Airbnb.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me more, Gray.
and yeah, and if I elaborate from their reasoning, all of their reasoning are we can communicate easier because there are no rules on stating whatsoever compared to Airbnb. But what's do you think she will definitely reach out to us directly?
Right.
Is that already guaranteed?
Right.
Because a little bit of this, because after this message she actually haven't replied yet.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you want to direct a guest outside Airbnb, there's actually no guarantee that they will reach out
Right.
if you think
Right.
about it.
Right. Right.
So yeah, and if you actually see from her conversation, she never really initiate booking outside Airbnb.
Right. Correct.
So I don't think she also trusts us that much to book outside Airbnb
That's
actually.
correct. That's correct. Okay.
And yeah, go to
Very
Mr.
good.
Dick.
Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. What else
Oh.
do you see? What else do we discover?
Yeah, and I I don't think well, that's actually my question though, but booking outside Airbnb, I would say, is the very very last resort
Yes.
that we want to try
Okay. And
to
why?
persuade her, because it's much more riskier for us both actually.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Very good.
There's no guarantee. Yep.
Excellent. Excellent. Any more? Any more, Greg?
Oh, also, if I want to add, if she really wants to book outside Airbnb, she probably already inquired from the first and says, "Can I have your contact number outside Airbnb?"
Okay. Very good. All right. I'm gonna go over to Nadine. Nadine, why did I let Gray answer this question instead of answering this question myself?
Because you want to see her understanding, actually.
Right. Right. Okay. Now let's go to you, Nadine. Okay. Why do you think all three of the new people said the same thing?
Because they haven't been trained enough and haven't encountered this kind of hard negotiations yet, actually. So.
What zone are they in? Are they in comfort, fear, learning, or growth zone, you think?
I'm learning, sir.
No. The three people that just Irma, Dimas, and
Comfort, I think.
Comfort zone. Okay. All right. I'll give a recap on what just happened. So there's two things that are happening here. One is I'm trying to lead the team to lead themselves, right? So that's why we're passing this around. But here's what's happening. Let's go to Dimas. Dimas, did you feel that it was safe to say your own opinion, or just go along with what was already said already?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Jing. What I think, yeah, what I think is that it is safe to say that it is purely from my opinion
Okay.
because I've never encountered any kind of this situation before. So
Okay.
yeah, I think
What if this? Okay, let's change it. What if instead of I asked Muti first, I asked you first? Would you have said the same thing, or would you
no.
have said something? You would have said something different, right?
Yeah,
And
we would. Yeah.
then let me ask Muti. Muti, would then you agree with what Dimas had said if he had said it first?
Sorry, can you repeat, Mr. Jing?
If Dimas said, let's go to Dimas. Dimas, if I had asked you first, what would you have said?
I would direct it. The
Okay.
booking. Yeah.
You would still do direct if I asked
Yeah.
you first, yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, interesting. Let me go to Irma. Irma, if I had asked you first, or actually, sorry, I wasn't asking. It was Riska was asking. If Riska had asked you first, what would you have said without hearing what Muti and Dimas had said? What would be your original opinion?
I think I will go direct on Instagram because it's make me more easy to reach out.
Okay. Okay. So we might have Nadine, you could be right in this case, right? This is an anchoring effect. Oh, Nadine, let's go over to Nadine.
Yeah, I think this kind of bias because we have this on guidelines, sir. But if you are actually reading the guideline very carefully, that's if the guest asking for direct, we
Yes.
do direct. But if there is no initiation, goes apa namanya asked by the guest first, we never really do that. Actually,
Correct.
we prefer to secure the deals and the bookings on the Airbnb. I think that's also the matter of how you read the guidelines very carefully juga.
Okay, very good. So, Muti, Irma, and Dimas, read the guidelines carefully. Understand this, okay? Understand it is very dangerous to take a direct booking on Airbnb. There's a lot of bad things can happen. The worst thing that can ever happen is we get our Airbnb account closed. How do you get it closed? You take too many direct bookings. Why does Airbnb close it? Well, one, they don't get paid, and they don't like that. So that's not how they make any money. They don't like that at all, right? Two, what if you do something terrible to the guest, right? And they didn't see it. They didn't see what you said to the guest, and they have terrible PR then that says Airbnb is where this terrible thing happened to me. They're like, I couldn't control it. I couldn't watch what they were saying, and they would just remove you as a host, and you would ruin 10 years worth of work on that. So you definitely don't want to do that. Okay. For anybody new, I would prefer you just not take any direct bookings off of Airbnb at all. You just insist, since you found us on Airbnb, please just book us on Airbnb for now. Okay. Gray will give you advanced training once you understand, let's say, the context on how to direct. If they want to do it off platform, she will give you some training and some coaching on that. But right now, please do whatever you do. Keep the discussion on the platform. That's super important. We do not want to get banned. Okay. So that is number one. That's the principle. This is why we have chapters. All right. The reason we have chapters is so that this kind of misunderstanding doesn't get propagated around and become culture. Another thing is this. This is about negotiation. This is something that whether or not you experienced it yourself, Dimas, Irma, and Muti, this is something important. There's something called a follower effect, okay? Anchoring. One person, this is important. You might have seen this a lot in negotiations. Let's say you go negotiate for let's say you want to buy a piece of business equipment, or let's say a house. You're going to buy a house. Usually, I think they do this in Indonesia too. Usually the first price for the house is super high, right? They're going to say $2 million. You're like, $2 million? That's crazy, right? But why do they start at 2 million and not at 1 million? Because if they start at 2 million, that anchors the value at 2 million. So even if they bring it down to 1 million, you're thinking you got a great deal because you saved $1 million. But what if the price of the house was really just $1 million, right? So you didn't do anything, right? You just got a fair deal. But in the mind of a buyer, that anchor has shifted, okay? What you saw just before was a little bit of anchoring. One person said this, so that seemed right, and the next person says the same thing, right? And the next person says the same thing. And then if we keep on doing this without, let's say, expert guidance, that will become the new right? If 6 people are here and we all anchor around the same idea, then that becomes the correct idea. This is precisely Nadine, Gray, everybody here. That's why we have chapter meetings, so that this kind of anchoring can then be dislodged. But that being said, anchoring can be a very powerful tool that you can lead a large number of people to go in your direction by getting your first follower. Get the first person to say yes, and then look, the first person said yes. You should say yes too, right? And then the second person said yes. You should say yes again. And this way you leverage your sales technique. This is a more advanced sales technique. This is not selling one at a time. This is selling a group at a time. I'll give you a story, right? So once upon a time, I remember, I think it was here in Bali. There was this kid. They wanted to sell to a Chinese group, right? A bunch of tourists. I think it might have been some ice cream. So I'm pretty sure that the tourists were all like, I don't know if I can trust eating this ice cream. This kid doesn't look, very legitimate. He's just selling out of a box. But the kid, I think, was really smart. He just got one person. I think he found one person to just buy it, right? And once the other people saw that there was already one buyer, they all came, right? They all came and bought this kid's ice cream because that guy didn't die eating his ice cream and he thought it was a good deal. So this is a anchoring effect, okay? But let's go back to the main topic here. Riska, I'm gonna take control over here. I'm gonna guide us through, okay? So here's a few things. This particular situation, where did the negotiation break down? Let's go to Gray. Did you get this person's? Did you identify who this person is?
I would say still in the
50-50.
surface.
Okay, 50-50.
Yeah.
Do they trust you enough to ask you what they really want?
I don't think so. I still haven't gained their trust.
Maybe. Okay, so you're a little bit, kind of on the trust side. All right, let's go. Have you discovered what their needs are?
Nope. That's why I try to make the small talks.
Okay, all right.
Still
very
on
good.
the discovery side. Yep.
Very good. Okay, so have you tried to pattern match what the solution should be?
I don't think I haven't done that yet. That's why I said when I was breaking this down. I think that's also what you meant last week when we have this. When we break down, was like, oh, I should have done this.
Right. What
Yeah,
I see
something like
here is this, Gray. You're doing things out of sequence, right? And then you creating a deficit. You're creating a huge deficit, and then you're throwing it all in one chunk to the guest. Does everyone see that? Okay, so look at this particular question. This is where things had gone not so good for Gray. Gray, you're asking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You asked 5 questions all at once to this person. They asked you 1 question. You came back asking them 5 questions. Right?
It's very true.
Right? Did you answer their question, actually? You answered a question with 5 questions, right? So that is where you had a deficit. I think this happens, everyone. So you're probably thinking, how do I play the game? How do I get this right? But you got to kind of do it at the right time, right? You don't want to have this, you have this deficit. You realize, oh, I don't know who this person is. I haven't identified what they need. And now I need to do everything all at the same time, right? So you have to actually be decisive. If you are now it seems like right now you are in a stage 4, right? It seems like now they have told you what they want, okay? You don't know everything about this person. You don't know everything about their needs, but you are logically in a stage 4. They have approached you now with a problem, and they expect a solution. So technically, you need to pattern match at this point. So you have to make a decision, right? You kind of have to play the stage 4 now. You're in stage 4. So you have to say, okay, this is what I have, but then this is where you can go back up. But I really haven't understood all your needs at the moment, and I want to make sure that I get it all right? This is my best answer for what you can do now. If you could actually explain to me a little bit more about what you really, blah, 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 then I can really find a really good solution from the 170 properties that we have for you, okay? And that restarts the cycle again. It's okay to sort of, if you're in stage 4, then you just kind of have to play stage 4. But it's okay because you can always go back up again, Great. If you're in stage 4 and it doesn't work, you can say, sounds like I maybe found the wrong solution for you. That's probably because I didn't really understand your needs. Maybe we can go back to understanding your needs a little better, right? So you seem to really want this deposit. wow, how did you do it before, right? Tell me, you went over that part really, really well, right? But you can't keep on popping 5 questions at the same time, like identity questions, then discovery questions, then accusation audit questions. It becomes really confusing. That's why this person didn't know how to respond. I would go back to this person right now and say, it seems like I asked you too many questions, right? And I didn't answer your question, and then correct yourself, and then you can get the conversation going, and then they would feel less awkward, because right now they're probably like, this is awkward, what do I say, which question do I answer? I'm kind of confused now myself, right? So that's what you want to do. That's where I see is the chief block here. Let's go up to Riska again. Riska, circulate this around, see what other people think. I'm sorry, Riska, I shouldn't have told everyone the answer. I should have like explored that part a little bit. I couldn't help it. I think we're just like, but
It's
okay.
okay, Mr.
Yes,
Jing.
circulate it around, see what other people think. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Jing, about the explanation. It's actually very, very insightful. So maybe I will ask Nadine about it. Can I? Maybe about this, about particular what Mr. Jing said before.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I would agree with that, but let's take a look again. Actually, Gray, what is exactly the problem? I don't see the deposit is the problem, but the reason behind it might be the problem. So I think that's what I see is not you don't discover enough why this person wants to do deposit actually. So that's probably the trust, right? But we cannot juga assume gitu, gak bisa assume juga gitu. Itu harus di confirmation gitu. Jadi bisa ditanya kenapa prefer deposit gitu loh. Do you encounter any problem on doing the full payment or something gitu di Airbnb. Jadi di dig up di situ sih kalau aku kayaknya Gray. So yeah, I think that's I would agree with Mr. Jing on that. Maybe to solve this kind of cases there is two ways, right? We can discuss what should have done better and also how to solve and tackle these situations, right? To tackle these situations, I would agree with Mr. Jing. I can just go back to the guest and say that I probably asked you too many questions, but what should have done better, I think, instead of your bumbling sendiri whether to direct it or not, you should have discover why is this person wants to do deposit first. Terus bisa juga di identifications, like this person kan bisa kelihatan if you're handling the reservation in Airbnb, you can actually see the person profile. How active they're actually booked through Airbnb and how is their reputations, because in Airbnb it's both sides, not only guests reviewing the host but host can also reviewing the guests. So yeah, what we can see there, I don't know, vacation pattern or whatever, right? We can do the identification there. Probably we will have the clue, right? And then we can dig more why is this person prefer to have the deposit if they're actually an active user of Airbnb. And yeah, we can see the reasons, and then it might opens many opportunity. Maybe ya bisa ternyata di Airbnb we can do deposit instead of kita mikirin di direct atau enggak gitu loh. That's the things that I would do sih, Gray. Kayaknya. Go back to Rizka.
Okay, thank you, Nadine, for the opinion. Oh, so yeah, Gray raise your hand. So yeah, Gray, please.
Yeah. No. So yeah, about what Nadine said. So this guest doesn't have any review, any location, nothing. It's just like
okay.
her name and 0 reviews. That's it.
It's
So-
more urgent for you to actually ask why
Yes,
is this person prefer deposit, right?
That's why.
Did you encounter any problem doing the full payment? Because usually in Airbnb we always receive the full payment. Nanti they will explain why, I think.
I want to ask,
Yes.
do we know actually on Airbnb guests can pay deposit first and then
Very
how
good point.
Airbnb, when Airbnb gonna follow up for the payment? If the guests when they check in or like a week before the check in, I think we need also to know the new payment method of Airbnb instead of, hey, I don't think Airbnb cannot do that. We don't know, right? So we need to understand the Airbnb new method of payment or the rule, because Airbnb, I understand you can pay now like split. Like if, for example,
Yes.
Nadine and
Yeah, I
I,
think that's one, not the deposit. I think
Yes.
yeah, for example,
they
me and
misinterpret.
Nadine, yes, but deposit I'm not sure because I've been with this for a while. So maybe they have like new payment method, can put deposit first, and then Airbnb have a system like a week before the arrival, and then they ask for the payment. I don't know. Maybe we need to discover that more for us as a host for a long term for the guest. See this kind of encounter. Oh, I think that's the no method. Just follow the method of the Airbnb when you book on Airbnb, and then you just need to follow up with Airbnb. Hey, is this guest actually gonna pay when your guys' system will get payment, because I'm gonna block like long term for this expensive property. I cannot afford to cancel last minute. Like, what is your cancellation policy when the guest didn't pay the rest? We need to understand that, I think, as a host.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's the decision for me. Back to the chair.
Okay, thank you, Moana. Okay, Mr. Jing is actually raised your hand, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
Mr.
let's
Jing,
let's
please.
uh, let's put a wrapper around this whole thing. Let's take a few key takeaways here. So I think both Wayana, Nadine, and I had some really good, elegant takeaways, Ray, that we can integrate together. So perhaps on Wayana's side is we need to understand the product and service that we're offering. Right? We are offering our guests an opportunity to book on Airbnb, but do we understand how? Right? Do we understand what they need to do on their side? So that is a product knowledge or a service knowledge perspective. If we know more, then we can say, hey, look, on Airbnb, what you do is this. Or, you know what, you can just, as a host, probably just look for Google, search, how can I pay a deposit on Airbnb? And Airbnb probably has some sort of explanation for that. That you can just immediately send and give to the guest. They can take a look at that and understand right away. That's to cover Wayana's point of knowledge. Nadine's point is actually very strong. The key problem here, I know normally we need to identify and do it, but let's say you're on stage 4 right now, and it seems like if you want to get this deal, the key problem is really understanding this particular thing, why they want the deposit, how important is it for them, and also protect the partner, right? If this person is sketchy or they're going to do something, will they waste our partner's month of doing this incorrectly? So we need to understand a little bit more about their credibility. Okay, is it possible to do this? Well, it could be possible because we like to inspire delight. But the first thing you need to tell me is how did you get it done on your trip to Ibiza? And could you give us a little bit more detail? Maybe you can guide me how that can be done. And if it sounds like a reasonable idea, I can bring this forth and we can discuss with our partners and we can get you into this property, right? That's the way I would address the main issue on that one. And then the third point from my side is don't ask too many questions. Don't go back up. Don't jump levels, right? If you're in stage 4, commit to being in stage 4. And look, it's already in stage 4, so you just got to play it as a stage 4. Don't jump around to stage 2, 1, and do that because that makes it kind of confusing. I'll give you the emotional impact if I was the guest, right, of how I would feel saying this. You're asking me what I need to do exactly. So my thought is you don't trust me, right? You need to know something about what I do in order to talk about this deposit, right? So that seems now conditional. This relates to that. Now, great. If you had said that at the very beginning, if you had asked that at the beginning, then there would be no kind of cause and effect. I wouldn't be wondering why you asked me this about the deposit now, what I do. Does that influence whether or not you're going to take my deposit situation, right? So everything in its time. That's the first thing I'm going to feel. And then the second thing, your second part is kind of right. You're asking about what did they do previously, but then you're also cutting them off, right? You're saying we can't do a deposit because it needs to be done in full. So you're telling them, tell me what you want, but then I can't do it for you even if you tell me because this is our policy. So then I'm getting kind of confused again. I'm like, it seems like you're telling me not to not to approach, right? But then you're telling me that you really want me as a guest. So I'm like, I'm kind of, splintered here. Um, and then you're asking me a random question about my travel plans right at the very end. So if you're in stage 4, if this is the root problem, let's just focus on this for the time being, and then resolve it. And if anything, and then you can then put this in if you really want to discover more. Now that I've answered your question about the deposit, is there anything else that you'd like to know or that would affect your decision to become my next guest? And then you can kind of open up and talk about the other sequence of things. Okay, but I would take action quickly, Gray, to save this deal because it seems like this person does want to actually make the deal. Just as we've already said, just say, seems like I asked a little too many questions. Sorry, I was getting maybe a little bit excited, right? But let's focus on your deposit issue first. I've done some research. Here's what I know about deposits. Maybe you can tell me about how you made this thing work in Ibiza, and then I can negotiate with my team to make this happen for you if it's a reasonable method. Okay, and then you're back on to square one. Okay, it's okay to fail fast, get back on, keep the deal going. Right, you don't want a deal to go cold because of awkwardness. It's not good. Okay,
Excited to see the result, right?
yeah. Let's see the result, right? Okay, I think we
Announce
covered
it
this.
later.
Okay, let's double check. Let's double check, Riska. What I would do, Riska, at this point is just to go and just see if the newer people understood that, and just ask them, "Hey, look, can you tell us what the 3 takeaways are?" Right, and just double check on that one. Is Riska there? Okay, Riska, I'll let you pass that inspection to around. Yep.
Riska machine is just shut down
Oh, I see. I
just
see.
previously.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll demonstrate. Oh, Nadine, demonstrate that then. Demonstrate and make sure that the rest of the chapter has understood.
okay, sure. Dimas, go to Dimas, please. So, do you remember what the takeaways actually, Dimas?
Okay, Nadine, thank
Give
you.
me one takeaway that you
Very
see.
good. Very good.
Okay, okay, thank you. The takeaway I learned here is that we need to observe the guests whether it's they want to do direct booking or not, because in platforms such Airbnb we need to like stick into the system, so we don't approach the guest to do the direct booking unless they wanted to. And yeah, I think we need to know the guest better, and also we need to observe the guests.
Observe the guest. Okay, so that's your the takeaway. One of the takeaway that you actually learn. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The other takeaway, please go to Irma. Do you remember the other takeaway? So Dimas said that one of the takeaway is observing the guests more. What is the problem? And discover more. So yeah, but there is two other takeaways, Irma.
Okay, from me, I think. Let me say. At, from me, I think it will be better. Okay. Yeah. First of all, I agree to with Dimas to discover more, and it's prefer for us to stick on one platform to get conversation in a with a guest, because we don't even we can't guarantee that a guest is want to move in platform other platform.
Okay,
From
Irma. So just now, just previously, Mr. Jing has stated the three takeaways from this case
oh,
particularly.
astagfirullah.
Yeah, Irma, Dimas already stated one of the takeaway. Can you apa namanya say the other one
Oh,
takeaway?
product knowledge, it's about the product knowledge and service knowledge. We must learn, we
I
must
see.
dig more about product and service knowledge. I'm so sorry.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Irma.
Yes.
So, okay, let's go to Mutia then. Or let's go to Bayu actually. Bayu, what is the last takeaway actually, Bayu?
I'm gonna be honest. I actually kind of miss out when Mr. Jing give the conclusion, but from the discussion, one thing that sticking out from me is it's actually to not ask too much questions, since right
Mm,
now my problem is I'm actually too afraid to ask questions to leads, and then now knowing that I should be cautious in on asking too much questions too. That's realistic to me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bayu. Muti, is that all, or do you have any other takeaways, Mutia?
The other takeaways is that we have to dig more about the deposit itself. Like we have to know the regulation if the Airbnb have the deposit, and after that we dig more to the guests about the experience in Ibiza.
Okay. Okay, great then. I think seems like all the people here actually understand what has
Okay,
been discussed. Yes,
somewhat,
sir.
Nadine. I wouldn't agree.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so let's go back to the three takeaways again, right? Let's re-summarize. There's four. There's four. One is keep everything on platform. I think Dimas got that correct, right? If it's on Airbnb, keep it on the platform. And then the second one was not too many questions. But it's not too many. It's the right interpretation is not to ask too many questions. The right interpretation, ask the focus question depending upon what stage of negotiation you're on, right? Don't jump around. Don't go to stage one question, stage two questions, stage three questions when you're in stage four. If you're in stage four, just direct them through stage four questions into the last stage. So that is just be specific about your questions, okay? The third thing is Nadine's point, which is, I guess it's related to what I just said. You need to know what the root problem is, okay? The root problem here is really related down to this idea of the deposit. And being focused on the deposit, that's where you need to really drill down into, okay? All right. And then the fourth thing was what? What was Wayana's point?
It's a
Okay,
product knowledge.
yeah, product knowledge, knowing, understanding the thing. Okay, that one was already covered. Okay, that's the refinement on it. Okay, let's keep on going. Shall we go? Yes, okay, perfect. Those can be the four takeaways for today. And the secretary, please write that in as part of our new understandings from what we have today. Rizka, are you okay now? Can you continue to the next topic?
Yes. Thank you. I'm so sorry about it. My laptop is shut down out of nowhere. So okay, maybe now. Okay, so wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your opinions and actually have so many lesson learned and takeaways. So maybe we can mark that case as done right now, right, Irma? Thank you so much. And so, yeah, Mr. Jing,
No,
you
no, no,
raise your hand.
don't mark it as done because we haven't seen the result
Oh,
yet, right? So it's only
oh,
done.
okay.
It's only a case is only finished if the guideline works or if the guideline fails. Okay. So right now we
Okay.
don't know because we essentially have asked Gray to go back and try out the new
Mm,
things. Okay. So this
okay.
is not done. This is just in
Yes.
progress. Let's go see what happens next week.
Okay, great then. Okay. Okay, so maybe now let's move on to the second cases from Kayla. Please, Kak Kayla.
Okay, thank you, Rizka.
Thank you, Kak.
Sorry for everyone. I think I'm having a very lagging connection. So, since this is originally Bayu's case, if I'm having a trouble, Bayu can you can kindly continue for me. So, for this one, actually, I will just bring in the question since this is the case which is a possible for the upcoming future, and this has actually been asked before, and I would like to open to the floor too. So for the first one, I also attach the sequences for this one. If you can please zoom into the pictures. Yeah, thank you. Actually, Bayu has done the identifications, but still not enough for the build trust engagement. So if you read from the chat. So actually, the owner is very on transactional levels, and he's focusing on the commitments, on the commissions, on the fees, and the beefy capabilities to bring in the guests. So basically, all these conversation is centered on how will Bukit Vista performs to bring in the guests. Like what is the fee that needs to be prepared and what is the commissions, and I think actually in the second questions when the owner asks like how many fees that they should prepare, I think Bayu can make a significant effort such as asking like whether they already have the same arrangement with agents or they have the same I don't know, maybe like a contract with someone else because we haven't done discovery much. And in this part, actually, Bayu offered to have the first meetings, and I personally think, as the owner, I would not have the meetings actually if I don't build the trust engagement. But for the update, actually, the owners agree to have the meeting, and it's for next week from Bayu. And the main question for this case is that the owner asked for BV to have the proof first. So he has the, I don't know, maybe he has the trust issues or the, because he is a ethos type of person, the one who only build trust based on credibility and proof, or that the property is not performing well. So his question is that if BV can actually bring only one guest, they would agree to have the partnership. And from Kanadin and Moana from yesterday's advice, they advise to have the meetings first or that to have this assignment agreement. So if we actually can bring in guests, they have to sign the MOU. I think I would like to offer the floor how to handle this type of case for the upcoming future if we have one.
Ooh.
Okay, thank you, Kakala, for the elaboration. So, maybe I will point um, um, Kabayu first, maybe, yeah, to elaborate more because I see that this is actually the topic originally brought up from Kabayu as approacher. Maybe you can elaborate the considerations or why you actually ask the partner to apa namanya to help the meeting first before anything. Yeah,
Yes.
Kabayu.
Okay. Thank you, Aristia. Thank you juga Kak Kayla for pointing out what I did wrong in this case. And yes, I realized that I could have discovered the owner more. Uh, but for specifically when the owner asked about fees and commissions, I'm kinda confused if I should just answer the commission, each of the commission and package that Bukit Vista offers, right? And then from the advices yesterday, uh, well, I think either Kanadin or Kakaila suggest that uh, it is best to answer those kind of questions in the first meeting setting. Hence why I decided to let's try to discuss about this more with the owner on the first meeting. And that's why if we read my message, I kind of tiptoeing around the questions, not really answering it specifically. So for fees, I just said that there is no flat fee. We work on a commission. Uh, yeah, we'll just ask for commission. There's no flat fees, and then uh, I suggest the owner, if we want to discuss about it more in details, we could have it in the first meeting where we could discuss directly. And then the owners ask again for the percentage numbers, and then I said that there's a couple of various percentage for different packages that BV offers. Right, there's the 15 and then up to the full stack. So again, I don't really state what are the specific percentage are, and I opted to again ask the owner if they want to discuss it more in the first meeting. And then the last answer from the owner is they want to prove if BV actually can bring a guest to their property, then they will be open for partnerships. So yeah, that's the more details on the case. And then that's why the question was, is it possible to have a temporary to offer a temporary partnership, right? So in this temporary case, if on the temporary contract we BV successfully bring guests, and then we can have we can sign a longer period of contract. And I was just wondering, is that possible?
Okay, thank you, Kabayo, for detailed explanation. So, maybe I will pass it to kok hilang? Kabayo lagi.
Riska, you have 3 minutes now, so you're gonna have to control the meeting, okay?
Wow. Okay, then maybe to get it fast, maybe we can actually get it fast for Nadine, maybe to answer the questions after knew the reasoning and the detail of this case from Kabayu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Actually, so yeah, now I have more visibility, more context after seeing the conversations. Yeah. Yes, this person is very transactional. If I were you, Bayu, I would label this person like, sounds like you really want to get straight to the deal or to get straight to the transactions. Okay, actually we're excited to do that as well. So, do you have time for apa namanya ngobrol lebih lanjut gitu? But then this is the things that we also discussed previous week. If you want to trade secure, what will you get and what they will get as well, that's the things that you will need to actually make sure dulu gitu, because dia ngomong di sini, okay, if you can bring me only one guest, we can do the partnership. Okay, what kind of partnership juga nih, clear expectationnya sudah clear belum? Kalau ternyata nanti kita we already succeed to bring one guest and then kerjasama yang dia pikirkan itu not yang exclusive partnership, kan we don't get the deal artinya. So that's the things that we need to secure. Jadi it's okay. Sambut this apa namanya, we show that we're welcome with these options, but ask him to discuss more and dengan alasan we need to set the clear expectation toward both of us gitu aja. Karena we're actually welcome to do that. Kita juga kan punya tamu memang buat dibawakan. Yang penting kita nanti dealnya apa ya, clear gitu ekspektasinya. That's the thing that I would do, Bayu. So that's because this is already apa ya, green light actually. You just need to take this very very carefully when you want to trade like this actually. Yeah, that's my advice. Go back to Rizka.
Okay, thank you, Kanadin, for the suggestion. So, Mr. King actually raised. Okay. Yeah, Mr. King.
I'll identify this. I think you already have somebody who's actually it's actually kind of simple. They've already identified themselves as somebody who's interested in this particular deal, right? So you know that this person is asking you questions because they're curious, and they're coming to this meeting because they're curious, okay? So you already have built enough trust where I think they're coming in, but you don't really have any ammunition at this point because you have talked way more than they have, right? You haven't gotten them to talk too much about what they need or what their experiences are. So unless you want to go into a pattern matching discussion, when you get to a discussion, you want to make sure that you really have a lot of ammunition. You have a lot of knowledge about how this person thinks, about how they're making considerations. You have some clues. Because if you get into a meeting without that, then it won't really work. So where you are right now is this. You're kind of like in the second phase. You need to get into discovery. You need to understand a little bit more about why do you, it seems like you're really down to do business really quickly. Have you had good or bad experiences with past people who've tried to represent your property, right? Try to discover a little bit more about that. And that will open up a lot of discovery. Oh, you had bad experiences. Can you tell me more about why those were bad experiences? Or you had good experiences. Can you tell me why you're not still working with that person, right? If you had a good experience. So that gives you some pathways to really go down and discover more. Kyla, you bring up a good point right now in terms of the administration of this chapter. We are discovering guidelines, but we're not really integrating them into a plan. So this is where I think Bayou can maybe work with Nadine and perhaps Kyla to start drafting guidelines for where this deal is going to go. Nadine, if this sounds like one of our past workflows, right, then let's just use that workflow and guide Bayou down what the next steps are, right? What should he use for discovery questions? What should he use to try to close a deal? What should he use to pattern match so that we don't reinvent the wheel? But if you discover that this is a new pathway, this is a new type of owner, then let's go ahead and map that out. Let's go ahead and draw out that guideline, right? I think, Nadine, Kyla, we used to have the evolution roadmap of all the different types of owners and such. So let's double check if this owner is one of those ones that we've met before, and then we can just use the same guidelines. Or if it's really a new owner, then let's just come up with a new pitch. Okay, so that I think can be our takeaway here. Okay, everybody, I'll give you a few things. Riska, congratulations! I think you show a lot of bravery, a lot of initiative to do the chairing today. That part is good. A on effort and motivation, okay? Where you need to improve is, of course, the competency in understanding how to direct the conversation, because we ran out of time today. And we ran out of time because I don't think we moved quickly enough, right? Or you need to control how much time I talk too, because I talk a lot. If you don't stop that, then I'll just keep on talking through the entire thing. So as a chair, you need to kind of take a look at the big picture. Okay, we have 60 minutes. We have 2 topics we need to talk about, so we need to spend roughly 30 minutes on each one, probably 20 minutes on each one, and I need to keep the flow going. Eventually, I need to read a conclusion, which is we need some sort of guideline or output on this particular topic, and everyone needs to come together on that. But okay, Nadine, I'm going to leave it to you, right? Do you think we should continue having new people chair, or should we have established people chair the meeting for the next meeting?
Yes, sir. I think we need to have the established one day.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. For right now, I think that's key because we have a pretty large group, and I don't want to waste an hour of everyone's time a week, right? So normally we give everybody a chance to chair, but that might actually be not the highest priority right now, right? Let's get this done, everyone. So everyone who's here, I know advocacy is coming in, but this is good for advocacy too. That's why I'll continue. Bring your most difficult cases, okay? Negotiation and persuasion is a difficult thing, but it's okay. You have a strong team here. We can support you. So bring your most difficult cases. Bring cases. You can even bring personal cases. I tried to get promoted this month, but I wasn't persuasive enough, right? What did I do wrong, right? That can be one of your cases. Or, even cases, let's say, as much, if you can see a relationship work, bring it in. But maybe, like you said, I'm negotiating with my parents about something, but it just doesn't seem to go in the right way. And I feel like if I could conquer that, I could probably do better at work too. If you have a case like that, then bring it in. Bring us cases because we need really strong cases in order to create really strong methods. The methods we create are only going to be as good as how challenging the cases are. More challenging cases create more strong methods, which leads to more confidence for you to be able to deal with all kinds of circumstances. The transformation you should feel being in this chapter is, at first, I couldn't negotiate even like my parking, right? But eventually you should negotiate like, a job to become a director at Gojek, right? Something like that could be like where you could take this skill, okay? It is possible if you learn how to negotiate well. All right, thank you everybody for coming in. Riska, I'll let you conclude the meeting and then we'll get on to the next meeting, yeah?